Today I have come out with a plan, or at least a plan for sunset. Whether it'll work or not, I don't know, but before we get to the main event, I want to have a look around and see if there's any other scenes that I can shoot, maybe in the sort of late afternoon light before sunset. I hope you'll enjoy the video. If you do and you're new here, don't forget to hit subscribe before you go. Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. The last time I was here, or in this location, the shot that I wanted to take I couldn't do. I couldn't shoot from the spot that I wanted to, well, because of the weather really. Looking out along here with Calachako and its tower, and then beyond that Righteous Yoma. But you can probably tell it's blowing a gale up here. Today we've got almost nothing in the way of wind. It's very calm. There's a little bit of a breeze, but nothing much. We've got some cloud, which is pretty high. The sun's coming through it, so we might get a nice sunset. I don't know. But before we getting to the sunset location, I want to have a wander around and just see if there's any images that I can shoot here in sort of late afternoon light, particularly because the light is quite soft because of all the high cloud. I don't know what I'm going to find, but we'll have a wander around and see. I decided to come up onto the location where I was planning my sunset shoot just to check it out. And we've got some really interesting kind of atmospheric conditions because there's a layer of haze partially blocking some of the coastline in the background. It's almost making the distant hill kind of float a little bit above the sea. And I'm just wondering if there's an image to be shot here, or maybe two, maybe a wide angle shot, really bringing some of the scene in, and then maybe a telephoto shot as well. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get set up quickly and see about shooting something. Okay, I'm going to try a couple of versions of this. I've got a wide angle shot. I'm about, I don't know, 22mm on this 11 to 22 lens. So 22, 33, I don't know, about 35, 36mm full frame equivalent. And the way I've got it is there's a little kind of hill comes in on the bottom left of the frame, and then the coastline kind of curves around. There's the headland comes out with the tower on top, and then there's another hill behind that, and it kind of progresses across from the bottom left across to roughly the middle of the frame. Then the coastline goes up and across. So that's the scene. There's the hill coming in from the bottom left, and the coastline curves around to the cliff with the tower on, and then the other hill over there, and then the sky. Probably going to be a 16:9 crop, but there's quite a nice atmospheric feel to it. What I've done is I've got my 10-stop filter on, and I've got a variable ND filter on, and I've got that dialed into about 3 stops, and I think that should let me get about a 25-second exposure. The sun is just in the top of the frame, and that's going to blow out, but as I said, I'm going to crop this 16:9, so I don't think that's going to be an issue. By the way, I'm focused on that tower there. There's nothing very close to the camera anyway. 25 seconds, away we go. Yeah, so that's blowing out the sun in the top of the frame up there. But if I'm cropping that out anyway, that doesn't matter. And now for something completely different. I've gone telephoto, 55mm, which is 55, 75, 80, about 80-ish, 82mm, full frame equivalent, portrait orientation. So we've got the headland comes out here, if you can see that. Headland comes out here with the tower on top. Nice bit of separation from the other hill and the tower and coastline back there. A little bit of space here, a lot of space at the top. Some of the sky might get cropped out. And once again, I've stacked my ND and variable ND filters, and that should let me get a 30-second exposure focused on the tower in the foreground again. And let's shoot that now. Yeah, I think that works quite well actually. Quite nice. There's a bit of a colour cast coming from the variable ND filter, but I should have said all of these images are going to go black and white anyway, so it doesn't matter. So when I went up onto that hill, I hadn't actually intended taking pictures. I'd actually just went up there to check it out, ready for sunset, but I just couldn't resist that scene. That haze is actually clearing a bit now, which might be a good thing for sunset. If I'm going to shoot this at sunset, the sun is not going to be in the frame, because if I spin around there, you can probably see where the sun is up there somewhere. It's going to be setting way over that way, and I don't want that much of the landscape in the scene, but I'm hoping that it's going to be enough to put some colours across there. But as I said, I've already taken a few images up there that I hadn't intended to take. Today's trip out was actually kind of a double mission, because I was also planning on kind of scouting around for scenes to shoot at other times of the day. The reason for that basically is that after tomorrow basically, sunsets are going to get really difficult. This time next week, sunset will be 8:35 p.m. and we still have a curfew here, and that curfew starts at 10 p.m. So shooting a sunset and then getting back home before 10 o'clock is going to be really difficult to do unless I'm very close to home, which really limits me. I should be okay to do some sunrises for the next few weeks, because this time next week sunrise will be about 5 to 8 in the morning, and curfew ends at 6 a.m, so it gives me time to get somewhere set up and shoot. But that's not going to last for very long. It will soon be getting difficult to get out and do sunrise shoots as well. So I thought I'd use this as an opportunity to scout around a little bit, see if there's any opportunities here for sunrise shoots in the next, few weeks, or indeed for shots later in the morning or earlier in the evening, when the sun's, higher in the sky. So that's what I'm going to do for the next hour or so. Sunset is an hour and 25 minutes away, so I'm going to have a good scout around, see what I can find. If I find anything else to shoot, I will, but if not, I shall be heading back up onto that hill and photographing, hopefully, a nice sunset. Let's go. Okay, I've been wandering around for, half an hour or so. Haven't really found much that I want to shoot another time, but I have found a scene here which, I've got to be honest, I can't get the composition I would like, but I still think it's worth a go. And you probably can't see it on the video, but I'll try and show you. So way out in the distance there's a layer of mist. and then sticking out above it is B&W. So I've gone as longer focal length as I can get to try and capture that. Now I'm probably going to crop this again 16 by 9, so I'm going to take out some of the bottom here, maybe some of the top. No, I'm not going to use filters or anything on this one. 1/20th of a second, f11, 200mm, which is the equivalent of 320 on a full frame. So I'm actually focusing on one of the buildings there. Let's get it nice and sharp. Spot on. Okay, let's take the shot. Okay, nicely exposed. So what we've got is B&W here. This is part of the coastal trail north of Via Hyosa leading up, and in the background the Sierra Elada. It's about 50 minutes until sunset, but the sun's going to disappear behind the clouds over there well before. But I think if we're going to get colours, it's going to be right at the last minute, or maybe even after sunset. So I think the thing to do is get myself set up and just wait. If we get a big, impressive, glowing sky, then this will be a wide angle shot. So probably similar to the composition that I did earlier to make the best of the sky. If we get a little bit of colour in the sky, if it's not that impressive, then I might go for the more telephoto, zoomed in on just the towers type scene. A lot of that haziness that was between the first cliff and the tower and the hill in the background with the tower has actually gone now. So that atmosphere has kind of faded. So I'm glad I took those shots when I did. Anyway, I'm going to get set up in roughly the right place, get everything lined up, ready to go, and then just sit and wait and see what happens. Okay, so in the hopes of a nice sunset sky, I've set up the wide angle composition. Now the problem with this composition is that the horizon is across the middle of the scene, which is not ideal. If we get a really nice sky, then I might change that. But at the moment, I quite like having this hill here in the foreground. So let's just check focus, zoom in on there. It's a little bit dark, isn't it? Let's just bring my exposure up so that I can see to focus a bit better. Yeah, so focusing on the tower. That looks pretty sharp. And let's dial the exposure back to something that isn't going to blow the highlights, which at the minute is 1/100th of a second. But obviously that's going to change as the sun goes down and the light changes. So we'll see what happens. Right, time to settle in and wait. I was hoping we might get a little bit of direct light coming through, but just looking at exactly where the sun's going to be setting. There's a bright patch in the sky there, but the sun's already past that open patch and it's into the heavier cloud. So we're not going to get any direct light on the scene. So now I'm hoping we might get some bottom light. If there's a gap a bit lower down, those clouds might light up in a few minutes. We are still, what time is it? Can't see, hang on a second. Yeah, we're still 20 minutes from sunset. So in the next half an hour, we might be lucky and get some bottom light, which will make things light up. I think there's a little bit of colour in the sky even now. So what I might do, is just take a shot with what we've got, in case it's the best that we get. It still looks quite nice, but I'm hoping for something better. Okay, actual sunset is still about 3 minutes away, but we are getting a bit of colour in the sky. So it's probably worth thinking about taking some images now, or take a shot now and then wait, because with the conditions like this, you can never tell what's going to be the best of the light. So it costs nothing to shoot digital, so I might as well take pictures and then I can choose whichever one looks best. So at the moment, there we go. What have we got? Half a second. And as I said previously, this will probably be a 16:9 crop, because at the moment the horizon's right away across the middle of the frame. And I'll probably take a lot of the sky out. If the sky really lights up, I'll recompose. Half a second, F11, take that shot. I mean, that looks pretty nice. Bit of vibrance in there. And that'll make for a nice image. But I'm still going to wait and see if we get anything better. Sunset's gone. There's a little bit of colour in the sky that I'm just sort of capturing now. So 1.6 second exposure, which is going to actually smooth that sea out quite nicely. Some lovely colours in the scene, even without a really fiery sky. This may be the best that we get, but I'm going to hang in there for a while and just see. You never know. Anything up to about 15-20 minutes after sunset is when things can get interesting. And we're only 5 or 6 minutes after now. I was hoping for a really nice, spectacular sunset tonight, particularly as it's likely to be my last one for a while. But nevertheless, this is still very nice. And as always, I've had a nice wander around and enjoyed being out and about. Nearly 20 minutes now after sunset. I've been waiting around in case we got, that post-sunset colour, but it's just not happening. So I think I'm going to pack up and head for home. So I've taken several shots over the period, ranging from about a second up to 3.2 seconds, which was the last one. And I'll have shown you whichever one I thought was the best. And now I'm going to go home. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please give it a like, share it on social media. Leave me a comment, let me know what you think. And if you're new here, if you're new here and you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit subscribe before you go. As always, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch, so thank you very much. And until the next video, bye.